Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Leavenworth County Commission meeting. We appreciate you being here, and we're going to have a moment of saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we will have a moment of silent prayer with Michael.
I ask everyone to, for a moment of silent prayer, please. Okay, thank you.
And we will have a roll call. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
I'm here. Here. Mr. Reed.
Here.
Welcome. And Commissioner Collins.
Here.
Everybody's here and accounted for. We're going to do public comment. I'm going to read the public comment information. I don't read this every week, but I'm going to read it today. Public comments shall be allowed at the beginning of each meeting and open again at the end of the meeting after all regular scheduled agenda items. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. However, commenters may speak for up to 5 minutes at both the beginning and end of the meeting. There should be no expectation of interaction by the Commission during this time. Everyone wishing to make comments either on items on the agenda or not are encouraged to provide their comments in writing no later than 8 a.m. the Monday immediately preceding the meeting. These comments will be included in the agenda packet for everyone to access and review. This allows the Commission to have time to fully consider input and request follow-up if needed prior to the meeting. During times when the courthouse is closed to the public, anyone wishing to make public comment will provide their comments in writing no later than 8 a.m. the Monday immediately preceding the meeting. The comments will be included in distribution with the normal meeting packet. And I would ask that we maintain decorum and refrain from disruptive comment during the meeting. Thank you very much for being here. I understand there's a lot of issues of concern in Leavenworth County, and we do want to hear from each one of you about what your views and concerns are. So at this time, we will open public comment. Please give your address and your name and come on down.
Thank you. Excuse me. My name is Terry Booker. My address is 1712 Michael Street, Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm currently the holder of the Meals on Wheels bid, and I had some questions on the bidding process. I understand that it was a sealed bid, and I'm looking at I went and did a FOIA request for the two bids, and I don't understand why.
Sir, have you communicated with staff on this prior to this meeting today?
No, because they did everything behind my back, and this is kind of, I want to make this on the record public. Just because, I just want to point out this one thing real quick. I want to use my 5 minutes. But their bid, this was based on a price of their bid that expires July 31st, 2026. Now, the contract doesn't even start until October of 2026. So how is this bid even considered when it doesn't meet the criteria of the bid proposal that was put out? That's all I'm asking for, just a little clarification.
And if you want to submit that to Mr. Lawfrey after the meeting,
Okay.
we will follow up with that.
There are a couple other things that I saw the board meeting where it was presented to you folks as, 200 pages. They offer all these dietary others. We do that too. We've been in catering business. I've been a business owner in Leavenworth County since the 90s. I ran a business. I've done this for the last 10 years. I just think that there was some, I would say just not very friendly business practices towards somebody that I've been in a relationship with this company, or for the county anyway, for 10 years, and a member of the community my whole life. So my question is, this is a $4 million bid that they're going to take out of Leavenworth County, give it to a multi-million-dollar business, and they didn't even present their bid properly according to the proposal bid that was proposed. So my question is, I know that during the meeting she said something about paper products and all these other things, but see, that wasn't included in the bid, and I wasn't even given an offer to provide paper products. So they tacked on $1.17 onto my bid, saying because that's what the county is obviously paying for the paper products, which on the other flip side of that is that I can get them for 32 cents per person. So I don't know, where they got this number. Maybe they should do a rebid on their paper products if they're paying that much money. But that's all I want to say. I appreciate your time and effort, but I want to get that out there because something doesn't add up here. And I had,
Well, I would appreciate if you visit with Mr. Lawfrey, and we will look into this.
okay, and one other thing is that since I've had the contract for 5 years, I've never heard anything from Ms. Harmon, period. Now, I do deal with Georgia, but the flip side of that is that we're supposed to have quarterly meetings. Since they've taken over the Meals on Wheels operation over there, which has been about 6.5 years, we've had one quarterly meeting. All the people from the sites came. Said, is there any problems? There's things we need to address? No, everything's wonderful. Everything's great. 10 minutes later, we're all out of there. Never had another meeting after that. Don't know why. She keeps telling me, we need to have a quarterly meeting. Put it on the schedule. Never hear from it. Asked me one time, can you do diabetic meals? Yes. Are you going to be able to do the logistics to make sure the diabetic meals get delivered to the right people? Never heard back from them on that.
I understand. I just don't want to jump over our chain of command. I want you to talk to him first.
Right.
Then we can bring it in front.
I just wanted to get it on the public record so people
Okay.
know. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
I appreciate it.
I greatly appreciate you coming to public comment. Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning, Ed Irvin, 13561 246th Street. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to talk to you in public comment. I'm opposed to the data center proposed down at Tonganoxie. Water is still an issue with the proposed Tonganoxie data center. We really do not know the source or the specific amount needed. We recently had an engineer from Omaha, Nebraska come to our winery. He had been working on a data center on behalf of the city of Omaha. He stated that whatever the data center says that they're going to use for data center operations on water, take that total times 4. And this is coming from somebody that actually had some first-hand experience. He also stated that on the production side, it was a closed loop, which is what we've been told. And on the cooling side, it was an open loop. And this is what's being done right now up at Omaha. What I'm saying is just because they tell you certain parameters does not mean that it's actually going to be used or going to happen. I see that the data center developer is also stating that there's going to be a tax windfall for the school, for Tonganoxie, and for the county. And I mean, you've got an overhead right there. It's easy to state a message than to take a look at the actual outcome. The promises for all of the extra money coming to our county looks tempting to a few of us and ill-formed taxpayers. Is it worth the short-term gain for long-term loss? Not to mention the water issues, health issues, the noise issues. I do not think so. Properties anywhere near the proposed data center will be tainted and will never be able to sell if they wanted to. The values of property within 6 to 8 miles will plummet, at which point we will have to reappraise lower, thus resulting in less tax revenue unless the mill levy is raised. These properties will not even be able to sell at a sheriff's sale. The people of this county elected you to represent them, and the people of the community around Tonganoxie overwhelmingly do not want this proposed data center at any cost. We are turning a point in history here. Do we want to fetch water for the billionaires, or do you want to listen to the citizens that elected you into your positions? The choice is yours, but everyone out here is watching. History will judge you for your choice on this matter. I plead with you to listen to the citizens and to put final acts to this proposal. I want to mention, I found an article here just this morning that said Amazon's own engineers stood in Seattle, that is Seattle, the city of Seattle Hall, and called their company's AI expansion an approach that will cause strategic damage to our democracy and to the jobs and to the future of the earth. Thank you very much, and I appreciate getting a chance to give my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Irvine, while you're here,
Yes.
Can you tell a little bit about your venue and what you do out there?
Yes. We have Irvin's Just Beyond Paradise Winery. We started the business, my wife and I, as a hobby. We were making wine in 5-gallon buckets. And we have built that business up to the point where we actually did a project with the Pizza Hut Corporation here 2 years ago. And we've got a lot of coverage here all across Kansas, all across Leavenworth County, all across the United States. We ship into 43 states. And we've had coverage all across the world with our tomato wine. And, that brings up a point, because everybody thought I was crazy when I came out and said I'm going to do some tomato wine, okay? And if you believe in something, you got to see you got to look ahead and see what the outcome might be. And quite honestly, nobody ever thought that I'd get 2 billion ad impressions worldwide with tomato wine, which, a lot of people thought I was crazy with. But it's all about having foresight, I think, and seeing what the future is. And I see, there's some potential tax benefits here, potentially with the data center. But if you take a look at the property values that are going to be diminished in the area around this, is it really worth it? Are we going to...
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm
It's not every time that you come up here, Cecilia, that people clap for you like that.
My name is Cecilia Pruitt. I live at 21800 Parallel Road in Tonganoxie. I'm opposed to the data center. I honestly was not going to speak today, so this is kind of off the cuff. But listening to this gentleman, it kind of ties in, I believe. First of all, I'll tell you, I'm somewhat of a tree hugger. Sierra Club and so on. My husband and I built a home out here in Tonganoxie almost 25 years ago. It's an earth contact. We were very conscious of how we utilize utilities and our effect on the environment and so on and so forth. So anyway, I was sitting there and I was thinking about this with cloverleaf. And when you look, cloverleaf, as we all know, is not going to be running this. This is something they're building to sell. So once, if this data center is built, once it's sold, it will be in the hands of whoever buys it. So it made me think about something a few years ago that I wonder if you guys will remember if I kind of pick your memory a little bit, and that's farmland in Lawrence, Kansas. Do any of you remember what happened when farmland closed and Lawrence took over this? Thank you. Somebody does. Yes. Supposedly, it was put out that it was going to be around $10 or $12 million to clean up this environment after farmland, and most of that was due to nitrogen that was in there. In actuality, it was somewhere around $40 million that it cost the city to do this environmental cleanup. All right, I won't get into religion with any of you. I don't know if you're religious, if you're agnostic. But I will tell you from my viewpoint, I believe this earth has been a gift to us, and that we have a responsibility to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation to offer them what we have. I raise boys and I have grandchildren that they like to fish, they like to get out and hunt. They are land people. They grew up in the country and the country they love. Do you want to leave future generations contaminated land and water and huge pieces of concrete? Or do you want to protect our farmland? I saw a cute little thing on Facebook, and I copied it because I thought it was cute. And it said, something to the effect of, I'll give up AI, you give up farming, and let's see which one of us lasts longer. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is, don't let a little bit of money today influence how we take care of our environment for the future. Don't be Lawrence, Kansas, and get stuck in this horrible hole that they were stuck in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Nancy.
Good morning.
Morning, Nancy.
Nancy Carpenter, 14681 Crider Road in Bonner Springs. I'm sure you were hoping that the approval of Caw Valley's SUP last week would keep me from coming to grace your meetings with my comments. I'm still trying to understand the reasoning behind the votes to approve. I sent emails asking for said reasoning and thank Commissioner Culbertson for his response. It seems that now more than ever, the citizens of Leavenworth County deserve to know how this body functions. This is especially true given the unusual events that transpired during last week's vote on a motion to deny Caw Valley's application. A motion to deny was made after the reading of a detailed list of findings as to why denial was important and appropriate. The motion was seconded. Twice, the county councilor reminded the board that a vote of yes meant denial. There was a pause while copies were made of the list of findings, followed by discussion of the motion. During the discussion, Commissioner A expressed concerns about the route and wanted it to be changed. Commissioner B said that it sounded like Commissioner A wanted to approve the application but amend the route. Commissioner A's response was affirmative. I was a part of the audience and felt the mood shift as we feared that the motion to deny would fail. The chair called to end the discussion and voting began. Commissioner C asked the county councilor one more time about a yes vote, meaning denial. When Commissioner A was called to vote, they voted yes. It was amazing. I actually felt my heart leap. Alas, it was not in the cards. Commissioner B, who had yet to vote, asked for clarity on Commissioner A's vote, reminding them that they indicated moments earlier that they would vote to approve the SUP. Do you think it was appropriate for a commissioner to tell another that they had voted incorrectly, especially given that the commissioners had been reminded 3 times what a yes vote meant? Discussion was over. Voting was taking place. We'll never know if Commissioner A actually had an epiphany and chose to cast their vote as yes to deny. To my eye, Commissioner A changed their vote after pressure and intimidation by Commissioner B. No doubt, Henry Robert of Rules of Order fame rolled over in his grave. You may recall that opponents to the sand pit explained the impact of silica dust on people's health. They told you of the residents who rely on private water wells and asked that you protect them. Time and time again, they spoke of the dangers of turning their roads into industrial haul routes. In the evidence from letters and the public hearings, emergency workers, the sheriff, and local residents spoke of the safety hazards hundreds of trucks would bring. They asked you over and over and over again to consider them, their families, their rural lifestyle, their peace. You ignored them. The parallels to the sand pit fight and the data center fight are undeniable. Citizens are raising their voices in opposition. They are presenting you with scientific evidence as to health dangers. They are extremely concerned about their water supply being compromised. They've been told of a promised decline of their natural habitat. They fear for their livelihoods as vital contributors to the local economy. The list goes on. They have asked you over and over and over again to consider them, their families, their rural lifestyle, their peace. Will you ignore them as well? Just because you salivate over the chance to have big business in rural Leavenworth County doesn't make it right. You need to close your ears to the hype and stop caring only about dollar signs. It is the people who make this county special. Why not respect them, listen to them, and serve them?
Please, no whistling. Thank you.
My name is Lucas Patton. I live on 625 Bittersweet Lane. Project Bluestem is very unclear when it comes to the purpose of the data center. The rapid development of data centers in the United States seems to coincide with the rise of generative AI. I worry that Bluestem will fall under the same umbrella. It is obvious that the world is changing. As of June 3rd, an astonishing 831 data centers are currently under construction, with 48 being blocked or stalled in 2025, either due to negative effects with its surrounding area, such as meetings like this, or a complete freeze due to an issue with their supply chain. With how late the construction of Tonganoxie's data center will be correlated to recent surges of data centers, I see it ending the same way. Project Bluestem has claimed that they are a long-term economic benefit, responsible with their water, and have no ratepayer impact, according to their website. According to the materials tab that they have, the only thing they have is this, which is the data center potential property tax impact and community benefits. It claims that over the course of 30 years, it will be able to make $358 million, according to this. The best this paper can do is give an assumption. If we are going to make a $7 billion decision, we should have all the facts at our disposal. I am currently seeing my options dwindle due to big companies trying to replace not only our jobs with AI, but the recruitment process too. While it might take a long-term economic benefit, its ecological issues are far more concerning. I'm already having a hard time when a neighbor has his bass cranked at max in the middle of the night, feeling it beat every once in a while. Now what happens when that becomes constant? Data centers cause noise pollution from a constant hum about 90 decibels. This is equivalent of a concert, 5 above the max that can actually damage our hearing. It causes light pollution, making it almost impossible to sleep, which inhibits the natural wildlife's patterns, such as migration and habitats, while also ruining our view of the stars. This is not including the air pollution and water waste. Project Bluestem claims it will be using a closed water circulation system. While these systems do work in reducing water usage, it is far more expensive to use. They also claim that they will not affect ratepayer prices by paying it all themselves. This will drive up the cost of the project and operation cost by a large margin, subsequently increasing the amount taxpayers will likely have to pay to subsidize. I am a 20-year-old student whose life has negatively been affected by generative AI in more ways than one. It is threatening my job opportunities, has largely impacted my hobbies such as building computers and gaming by inflating the cost of RAM, injecting itself into every part of daily life, thus crippling the minds of my generation and stagnating the learning development of our youth. Now a generative AI data center is putting my home in jeopardy by ruining the surrounding environment and damaging the local economy. How am I supposed to trust a company that has not only failed its production in New Jersey, but also makes claims with no evidence that is available to us? They have not stated whether their data center will be used for AI. The answers on the FAQ are vague at best and only give what we want to hear. I don't trust that the production of the data center will be a benefit of the surrounding community. Rather, I feel it will be a detriment to our lifestyle going forward. We live in the now. 30 years is a long time for a tentative promise of benefits. For the sake of our future and our children's, please do not approve the data center.
Thank you so much for coming, and I really appreciate the younger generation coming and weighing in, because we don't hear a lot of times from you guys. We need to hear more from you. Welcome.
My
Name
name
and
is
address.
Brooklyn Patton, 625 South Bittersweet Lane. I grew up moving different places, states, and even countries. And when I moved back to Kansas, I finally found my go. But when you are military, you lose friends, family, and you lose imagination. But, well, there was one dream I had. I always wanted a horse. I started riding horses 4 years ago and eventually got my own about 1 year ago. His name is Mateo. Moving to Tonganoxie was a big step for both of us, but an opening to new beginnings. With new beginnings, there are also challenges. This data center is a challenge. This data center it disturbs peace, pollutes clear air, and dirties our fresh water. This will affect all of our lives. Tech Republic examples, imagine living next to a heavy metal concert that never ends. That's the reality, folks. A data center's cooling fan can crank out 92 to 96 dB. This is just from one connecting machine that will also require multiple unnecessary advancements that will leave significant amounts of electronical waste. In addition with this, it also disrupts animal dynamics like reproduction, migration, and necessary functions. Animals have built this land like we have. They deserve the chance of open water, not diminishing water supplies. And they deserve a chance to go through circle of life, not fear for air pollutants from these data centers. This information was circulated from National Wildlife Federation. With data centers, it brings AI. AI has corrupted our world. It has taken our way of problem solving and thinking. In school, countless people are using ways to use AI. Whether good or bad, it is taking away from our learning. This being my future and beyond at stake, data centers are corrupting our minds. Why am I learning when a robot can take my future career, your stable income, and other endless jobs? Our future lies with these decisions, so we should have the right to vote for it or not. What is AI giving us that our minds have not? We have built and evolved on this earth to where we are now without AI, and I refuse to let AI take any more self-growth from us. What do you want, an AI video or a future? Because I know what I'm fighting for. Now stop standing to the side supporting a center that will send us to ecological disaster and fight for us and our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was going to say, could you give us you cited some studies there about how it affects animals. Could you give us those studies and provide those to the Commission?
I found it from the National Federation of Wildlife. You can look it up. It talks about AI. And
you mind getting it to us?
Oh, yes.
Thanks. And I do appreciate you coming.
Do you want me to do it now? Or?
No, just when you have a chance, get it to us, just email it in.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Tammy Patton. I live at 625 South Bittersweet Lane in Lansing. Also in the process of moving to Tonganoxie with some land. We moved our horses there. I wanted to start off by saying that I'm busy. I'm a busy person. I have 6 children in my house and 4 of them, by the way, have the right to vote now. And this was something that we were not up to date on. I also have gone to some neighbors in Tonganoxie who also were unaware of this situation, which I feel like we need to be bringing this to everyone's attention. So I was not born in Kansas. I chose to be here. Over the last 20 years, I've traveled the world, and now Kansas is where I call home. I've been living in Kansas for over 5 years now, with 4 children of my own and 2 that I have taken in. We are homeowners and soon-to-be landowners. My family is in the process of moving to a place where we call home. We wanted to be in the country. We wanted to be around people that we now call family. I'm concerned about what having a data center will do to the community environment. One of my kids has been chronically ill since we moved back to the United States. Her dad is active duty military, and we lived in Germany for 4 years where the air was clean and pure and she was healthy. When I take Alex to Tonganoxie, that's when she feels the best. She's 20 years old now and is a college student. I haven't seen her enjoy the outdoors like she does now in many, many years. When we go there, she enjoys being outside. We haven't had that in over 5 years. I'm a business owner. I work a salary job that builds T-lines and substations. And I'm also a local realtor, so I have knowledge in several different areas here. I like to stay busy. Have you thought about what this is going to do to the Tonganoxie real estate market? Just imagine that the data center is built and the surrounding neighbors have a hard time with the sounds, the dust emitted in the air, the lights, the wind, whatever it may be, and they need to move for their own sanity. One person in the neighborhood decided to put their house on the market, followed by several more. Sure, you may have 1 or 2 buy the house that's close to listing price. However, as many more houses come on the market, the values drop. Houses sit longer, and homeowners are now stuck in their houses because no one wants to live next to a data center. For many, there will be no escape from the housing market depreciation caused by this annoyance that was built. Are you willing to have houses within a 15 to 20 mile radius appraised at today's value? If this becomes more of a nuisance, would you be willing to pay today's value rather than what it might be after the data center is built, so that these people, your community, can get out and feel sane again? How would you feel if they were going to build a data center next to your house? Would you stay? Would you now protect the people that voted for you and guarantee that they will get today's market value for that property? This data center affects the people, the environment, the economy, and the surrounding communities in so many different ways. Don't you think the people should have the right to vote on what their future is? This is not just building a building. This is involving their health and their financial situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Jim Carlson at 24542 Cantrell Road. You know, I've always attempted to be a reasonable person. I have tried to see all sides to an issue as a parent, as a teacher, as a school principal, and as a school superintendent, and as a legislator in the Kansas legislature. Basically, all things I encounter, I try to see both sides, or at least I would like to think I try. That was my approach when the data center talk started. However, that has changed during research into what is taking place. As I stated a few weeks ago, my wife and I went to Wichita to speak and hear with two industrial hygienists. Their names, Tammy Clark and Kristen Megan Kelly. These women opened my eyes to the deceptive and dishonest tactics by the big money companies like Cloverleaf. We have continued research, and now I'm angry. I've talked and followed another industrial hygienist, Stephen Petty. You know, I'm angry for several reasons. I'm angry because the Senate Bill 98, our Kansas legislature, handed over the keys to our state to the development companies that are out to take advantage of small communities. These companies think we are just a bunch of hayseeds. They would care less about us. They don't think legislative leadership was bright enough to see what was taking place. But leadership convinced the supermajority to vote on the final minutes of the session in 25. They gave away billions of dollars to billionaires. I'm angry because people are believing what they're being told by Cloverleaf. And I know Aaron's standing right here behind me, and he's going to tell a different story. This may be great to hear, but greed and being gullible is what's affecting people. They're believing the slick printout that says there are over $350 million coming to the city or county over 30 years. Give me a break, folks. Do you think that's really going to take place? This AI bubble is going to burst, and we know that. Cloverleaf and other companies like them target rural communities with weak zoning, offer few jobs, and hope nobody reads the fine print. By the time the problem arises, the concrete's poured, the lawyers are retained, and Tonganoxie will no longer be a desirable place to live. I'm angry because the EPA is nowhere to be found in this situation. There's going to be things left behind that no one can imagine, and it's going to affect our lives. I'm angry because there's a 10-year blanket immunity for data centers in Trump's big, beautiful bill. How many people knew that? I'm angry because nobody wants to understand what tone noise is and what is going to take place to the health of people of Tonganoxie. Tone noise is noise that can't be heard. It is felt. It is a proven effect on the brain, and it's especially dangerous to kids. And with this proposed site being so close to Tonganoxie Elementary, Tonganoxie Middle School, as well as a daycare center, I'm angry because it appears that some elected leaders in Tonganoxie and Leavenworth County are willing to take the money Cloverleaf is throwing around to shorten the lifespan of people of Tonganoxie, thinking money is more important than the people they represent. I'm angry because Kansas and Leavenworth County no longer have no regulations on harmful chemicals that will be discharged by hyperscale data centers. Just another reason why companies like Cloverleaf are quick to come to us. And you know what really steams me? When I saw what you're packed today on pages 135 through 145, and it's outlined regulations for planning industrial technology. Okay, it's more or less how to screw up Tonganoxie. The biggest takeaway from this draft proposal and associated regulation is the decibel limit. For reference, municipalities have settled on 55 as an acceptable level during the day. This thing in your packet calls for 85 decibels. I talked with Aaron about this last night. He even said he couldn't go along with 85. Well, who came up with this nonsense? 85 decibels is a federal occupational hear damage threshold. I have learned further through research that Planning Commission initial draft closely matched other municipalities and counties in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. You know, this was just I don't know who came up with it, but it was a cut and paste they got out of Pennsylvania. Our group will provide you with rules and regulations that have been developed by the people that know what they're doing, not cut and paste something out of Pennsylvania. As my time is nearing an end, I want to ask you, before you allow the billionaire technocrats to rape the Tonganoxie community, please understand what you're doing. Folks, I hate to say it, but you are over your head when it comes to people dealing with Cloverleaf. There are billions of dollars behind it. You know, last night they brought 20 people to Tonganoxie, salespeople to Tonganoxie, to try to convince us Cloverleaf is going to be good. Thank you.
Applause is fine, but please don't whistle. It just rings in my ear. I can't take it. We're not at a football game. Welcome, Aaron. All right. Are you? Can I ask before you start? Are you going to be at our work session to take questions later, or?
Absolutely.
I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the appropriate time.
Yeah, no, just wanted to, so Aaron Billieu with Cloverleaf Infrastructure. We are the developers of Project Bluestem. Corporate address is 1200 Main Street, Houston, Texas, Suite 3100 77002, just in the spirit of full transparency. Just wanted to update the board. Thank you for your continued consideration of a potential data center in the area. We are continuing to advance the project. We hosted an event last night at the 304 event space. We brought in...
Hey, we want to hear it.
We brought in several of our company representatives, and just as we've always done, want to be as open and transparent as possible. We had probably 150, maybe 200 people from the community come through. There were some protesters outside. Very peaceful. We absolutely respect their opinions on the project. We were there really to take questions and inform the community about our intentions there. We had 8 or 10 listening stations and people had the opportunities to talk on water, on tax revenue, on all of the different things. And we did have subject matter experts from both our company as well as our consultants there available to talk to the community. We did have people who obviously are in opposition to the project there, several no data center t-shirts and whatnot. But we also had, I would say, a solid majority of the people there were really there and interested to understand more about the project. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of electronic and Facebook type information out there about the project, and so this was really an opportunity for people to ask their questions directly to us, and so we really appreciated that. So just wanted to update the board that we're continuing to be open and transparent, and we'll continue to do similar type things as the project continues to advance forward. The other thing I just do want to comment that we are in support. I know there's the work session coming up. We are in support of the regulations as presented. Having done this all over the country and honestly all over the world, the regulations that you're seeing are very consistent with what is being put in place in communities across the U.S. I will say 2 things. We can work with a lot less than 85 decibels. That is something, we tend to see closer to 60 decibels in most zoning codes. So I do agree that a data center should not be at 85 decibels. That's an inappropriate number from my perspective. And then I do applaud the working group that put that together because this is one of the first ones we're seeing that actually includes regulation on the low frequency and the tonal noise. And I know that's a concern for the community, and so we're willing to work with the regulations that have been put forward and comply with those should a project move forward. So thank you very much, and I will be present later for the work session.
Okay, and is he going to be at the work session? We can ask him questions. Yeah.
Commissioners, it's your work session, so you will have the ability to ask any questions you'd like.
I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions here. The first question I had, Senator Hawley had a hearing in Washington on pirated intellectual property being used by big tech corporations like Microsoft, Google, Meta, that will use a pirated site to avoid paying the fees to authors.
Okay.
And so my question is, we don't know who you're bringing in or proposing to bring in, but certainly we want them to be in compliance with the law and make sure that they're going to agree that they're not going to use stolen intellectual property. Is that an issue that you've dealt with before?
We really deal with the real estate and the power side of it.
Right.
I'm not heavily involved nor familiar with the specific hearing you're talking
So
about.
if we would put a provision in our development agreement that requires the law be followed on that, that wouldn't be an issue with you?
That would not be an issue, no.
Okay. The other second question, and we'll ask more questions later, but President Trump has talked about moving towards these hyper data centers being fully powered on site. And when we had our work session, you indicated that the power sources would only be for redundant power with this project. Is that correct?
There's two issues there, and I want to make sure I'm addressing them. I don't believe that powering data centers on site is practical just because of the amount of space it would take. It would take tens of thousands of acres if you required someone to do all of their generation on site, so I don't believe that that's practical.
Okay, is that in general, that's not practical across the whole country?
Correct. Okay. So there's lots of generation assets that the ratepayers of the various utilities in the state of Kansas have paid for and put online, and all of that power is in the grid. So those assets are actually really good to be utilized for the data centers, because most days, like right now, the state of Kansas is probably only using about 40% of the generation capacity it has online.
Have you read his executive order?
I have not read his executive order. But what happens is it's actually good for ratepayers, because those assets that are sitting idle right now actually get sold. And I think when we had the previous work session, the gentleman from the utility was explaining that by selling that extra capacity is actually good for the ratepayers. In regards to the generation on site, what we would do is we would have backup diesel generators that back up a small portion of the site in the case that the power grid goes down. So then the backup generators would kick on for a short period of time to provide power essentially to just the network, to allow the network to stay alive, because if you lose your network, it can take a month or more to get your network back up and running, whereas the servers just shut down. And
I think that's what you said at our work session.
Yep.
So, very good. I just want to get that on the record, because there's a lot of misinformation, as you said, and people are saying that whether it's fully on site or not. Thank you very much. We'll ask you more later.
All right, happy to do so. Thank you.
Further public comment.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Shoup, and my address is 18902 242nd Street in Tonganoxie.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. In life, we make important choices that determine the paths that we take. We choose a career, we choose where we live, we choose our spouse or partner, we choose whether or not to have children. That's just to name a few. You chose to run to be a county commissioner, and after you were elected, you took an oath of office and agreed to the Kansas Code of Ethical Conduct for county commissioners. Ethical Conduct Code number 1 is honesty and accountability. You are accountable for your choices. You are elected to represent all residents of Leavenworth County. When the residents are telling you that Project Blue Stream is not what they want for their community, it is your responsibility to listen. Ethical Conduct Code number 2 is conflict of interest. You pledge to avoid actions that present an ethical dilemma or compromise public trust. Deals that appear to be backroom and lack transparency significantly harm public trust. It is your obligation to make decisions that benefit residents, not to potentially harm them. The science behind the long-term lasting impacts of data centers is not there. Why is that so? Because data centers like the ones proposed have not been around long enough to truly understand their impacts. The choice you have to make is, are you willing to gamble with the lives and well-being of Tonganoxie residents? If you're willing to do that, then it's only a matter of time that you're willing to gamble with the lives and well-being of the residents of Basel, Easton, Lansing, and Leavenworth. Code of Conduct number 3 is stewardship. You must manage taxpayer resources responsibly and fully. The word on the street is that the county is struggling financially, and that is why you're willing to gamble with the lives of Tonganoxie residents. The people of Tonganoxie should not have to pay the price for the mismanagement of taxpayer funds. Again, in life we make choices, and those choices usually end up as our legacy. What legacy are you creating? One that has a long-lasting beneficial impact, or a legacy that gambles with the lives and well-being of the residents that you pledged and made a choice to serve? Thank you.
Thank you for driving up. Further public comment? Good morning.
Okay, I'm not ready to start my name yet.
Take your time.
All right. My name is Jane Dent. I live at 23120 DeHoff Drive in Tonganoxie, Kansas. First of all, I want to say thank you for letting me get up here and speak to you guys. I want to say I'm here to speak for the most vulnerable of your constituents, the children with genetic weaknesses. We'll call them the canaries in the coal mine. I've been sick my entire life. As a child, my parents didn't understand why. Out of all my 5 brothers and sisters, I was the one who was always sick. I was born with a genetic weakness called an MTHFR gene mutation. I am the canary in the coal mine. This is one of the medical explanations of MTHFR gene. It is a gene that provides the instructions for making an enzyme that plays a central role in how your body processes folate and methyl groups. These 2 processes are essential for DNA repair, neurotransmitter production, detoxification, cardiovascular health, fertility, and hundreds of biochemical reactions involved in in our well-being is what I'm trying to say. I want to tell you that what this weakness does to me. When I am exposed to a toxin, if it could be a chemical from a cleaning solution or a chemical that is released into my well water by mistake. It could be a mycotoxin, which is a gas that molds produce, kind of like the air pollutions that a gas-generated power plant might produce. It could be the EMFs from power lines or even the low tonal noises that these data centers emit, which is what one of my main concerns is for our children, because they're the canaries. These kinds of toxins are like kryptonite to my body. Whenever I inhale them, eat them, drink them, or absorb them through my skin, once they are in my body, my MTHFR gene issue prevents my body from seeing the toxin. So my body cannot get the toxin out. It cannot grab onto it and pull it out through natural detoxification. So in short, I cannot detox naturally like most people do. So the toxins just stay in my body, circulating in my system, which can cause many horrific symptoms, diseases, and disabling illnesses. I was told by my KU doctors that understand genetic issues that 25% of the population has the MTHFR gene weakness. So think back to your classmates in grade school. 25% of the kids in that classroom were probably had this gene mutation. They are the canaries, and it's the same today. 25% of our population has this genetic issue. The ones that become very ill, especially can be the young ones. Some of the symptoms and ailments can include headaches, rashes like eczema, brain fog, asthma, cognitive impairments, ADHD, autism, diabetes, heart disease, and even childhood cancers. Most doctors do not know anything about this MTHFR because they have not been educated about genetic mutations and the toxins that turn these genes on. I have been told by my doctors, our genes are the gun, but the toxins are the trigger. This brings me to the reason why I do not want the hyperscale data center built on Tailgate Ranch. I understand that Cloverleaf is telling us that there will be all kinds of rules and regulations along with mitigation measures to ensure us that we will not be exposed to anything that might cause health issues. They are telling us that there will be safety limits on emissions of all types set that will not be exceeded. I am also here today to tell Cloverleaf that there are no safety limits on emissions that you can set that will be safe for me and others like me, the canaries. That means your safety limit needs to be set at 0 emissions. If they are not at 0 emissions, I am being exposed to who knows what kinds of toxic emissions. I will have to move far from my home that I built in 1993 and raised my children in, and where my grandchildren come to visit me now. Our property values are sure to drop if this project is allowed to pass, so I do not know how we will be able to sell and move. All of you must educate yourselves about the genetic health issues before you let this proposed hypercenter move forward. This is just one more reason you must pass the 90-day moratorium today and take the time to obtain the expert testimony on these medical and scientific matters so you can be educated to make these life-altering decisions. And I and almost all of your constituents here today implore you to vote yes today on this moratorium. Or better yet, please just tell Cloverleaf they are not welcome here in Leavenworth County. So please, just pack your things and go away. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. The previous speaker before this lady, could we have a copy of her testimony? Because there was something that she said in that, and I think it was a mismanagement of taxable funds. Could you give us a copy of that, please?
Is she, is Ms. Shoup?
Yeah, what are you referring to?
Mismanagement of
So there's
funds.
a lot of things, like I could go through a whole list of things that probably are concerning to people in this room about how funds have been spent in the county. So one of them would be, not long ago, you decided to get rid of all the vehicles that the county owns and lease all the vehicles. I would think that most people know leasing a vehicle is not the wisest choice of having a vehicle. There's one. I can probably go on and on, but I don't think that's what we're doing right now. I think you're listening public comment. If you'd like to speak to me separately, I'd be happy to do that.
I'd be happy to have you to come in and talk, because that's something that's being said, and if it's not the truth, then I don't think that it should be out there.
Because there's quite a few things I know a lot of people are concerned about how
Okay.
money is being spent.
All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, sir.
That's all right. Russell Dent, 23120 Dehoff Drive, Tonganoxie.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for allowing us to speak. Real quick, a little housekeeping issue. If I say I emailed it, it wasn't me, it was my wife, Jane Dent. So and that's going to come up here probably. Okay. We keep being told that there are no long-term health studies to prove that these data centers cause health issues. But I, Jane, came across an article in the U.S. News titled "The Health Earthquake is Hitting Virginia Residents as Data Centers Surge," dated 4/28/26 by the author. I actually emailed you all of this article this past Monday, so you should have a chance to review it by now. In this article, it mentions a published study called "Health Implications of the Rapid Rise of Data Centers in Virginia, an Exploratory Assessment," which I also emailed to you on the same day in a PDF form. Some of the health concerns cited in this study are respiratory and cardiovascular disease, various cancers, neurological disorders, and conditions such as smoke, dementia, diabetes, and childhood asthma. In these studies, there are significant concerns for female reproductive health, reduced fertility, lower live birth rates, increases of miscarriage and stillbirths. It mentions that the noise pollution is partially concerning for children. It can cause cognition, poor school performance, increased stress, behavioral issues, decreased learning, lower reading comprehension, mental health concerns, permanent hearing loss, and tinnitus. Chronic health effects like hypertension, which causes decreased sleep quality for all ages. These are human health issues, and I will not take the time to go into all the issues that harm our pets, livestock, wildlife, even our bees, which will be detrimental not only for the bees but for our livelihoods too. Please vote for the moratorium, the 90-day moratorium today, and we need to get the experts in place to do these studies and take this stuff serious. And I have copies of these studies also. I'd like
Would
to
you hand them over to the table over there? Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
D. Carlskint, 24542 Cantrell Road. Closed loop system is pushed out there like it will solve the water consumption problem, and residents should not worry about wells going dry. Well, that would be great news if there would only be one loop. But there is closed loop for cooling chips, filled at the beginning and then circulated. But the second loop, or heat exchanger loop, is an open loop, and there's a third one that could be on there. The immersion cooling technology will be 60% of the water needed and is why wells are going dry. Now we are talking about millions of gallons because of the cooling towers and evaporation. They work best in cold climates, so the concern for water usage remains. And I cited where I got that from. In my research, the water needed to keep the process cool brought me to temperature. In Kansas in 25, it is estimated we had 110 to 115 days of 85-degree or higher weather. At these temperatures, the closed-loop system struggles to stay cool. Larger dry cooler arrays will be needed. Heat transfers and efficiency drops. Fans will have to run at maximum speed and will increase electrical use by 30 to 50%. The increase in the electrical needs could cost millions. This fits the increased electrical bills, the 8 to 10% per year passed on to residents, not to mention the powered electric lines. And when he talks about an 85 decibel, when these things run, it's going to be 110. With the fan increasing to maintain, I could not find how many that were going to be on Project Blue Stem. But with 10 fans running at the highest speed, it will increase 95 to 100 decibels. With each additional fan, the decibels will increase more. This is well above OSHA. We will be forced to wear hearing protection 24/7. To residents of Tonganoxie, it will sound like the actual noise doubled in volume with 10 fans. This leads me back to tonal noise. We got him on tonal noise. That's why he brought it up in his statement, meaning Aaron. With winds of 10 miles per hour, 40 to 50% of the year, the tonal noise will affect the city of Tonganoxie. 20 miles per hour, tonal noise travels beyond Tonganoxie. There is no way to control it. According to the industrial hygienists, you cannot control tonal noise. So to refresh your memory, what this does is disturb sleep. It's what people have said. Communication with the earth and each other is scrambled with animals. I cited several things. You have copies. I gave copies before today. What I have presented to you each week is information that will happen. We do not know how severe, but it's showing up in other areas that are in process 2 years already. All 5 of you represent Leavenworth County. I hope you are talking to people that will live the nightmare in Tonganoxie and beyond. With public figures publicly asking for moratoriums, Aaron Brockovich becoming active in this fight, the residents with children saying they have to move, Forbes printed a Gallup poll show 71% oppose data centers, not to mention what home values will do. In most communities, this is their livelihood. What does that do to their invested lifelong savings and financial future? 69 U.S. communities have paused or stopped proposed data centers. You have a tough job and a great deal to think about. No data center that's large and this destructive should be put in near Tonganoxie. And I also left you something from the United Nations, who are speaking out now about data centers. And all I'm going to say at the very end is, for people who want this and who sell it, there's a special place in hell for all of you.
Amen.
Hi, I'm Janice Bernhardt. My
Can I
address.
say something quick, Mike? Before we get started, folks, everyone knows how I feel about these centers. I'm not for it. But when you come up here, you talk to the county commissioners like that, or you say things, let's try to be civil. Because when you do that, have you ever noticed that when you put somebody on the fence, say yourself, you don't hear everything that's going on after that? Most of y'all are doing a real good job. But continue giving us the points, what you think are. Don't say we're going to end up in hell. Or don't say we're going to start whistling across the room. We're here to listen. I'm listening to every one of you. I've read so much stuff. Right now, I think, I'm to say it's over our head. I don't think it's over our head anymore because there's so much stuff that y'all fed us that's really helping us quite a bit. So let's just be civil to each other. That's all I ask.
Yeah, maybe you could amend that to purgatory.
For religious people, spiritual
Go ahead.
people, that we can believe those things.
Okay, further public comment.
Go ahead. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Janice Bernhardt. I live at 22927 Wood End Road. Excuse me. And Sandpit Nancy kind of stole a lot of my spiel, so I'm going to just parse a few things together that I think are important. And I spoke about this at that 6-hour meeting. The improvement of County Road 1 was never intended for heavy industrial. Never. It was for economic development, and it was for agriculture, where they could coexist, where the ecosystems can coexist. The data center, I think, I don't know, what's it considered? Heavy industrial? And with the sand pit, I really didn't know much about it. I haven't been in that area since I worked at Tall Oaks Christian Church Camp in my 20s. But when I heard the alternative route, I went Chicken Little on it in my head at home because I thought people are going to die. That corner at K32 and County Road 1 is a fatality corner because by my house is I think it's District 2 Fire Department on Wood End Road, and then they go down that road. And evidently, because I've talked to people on the fire department that strongly sent letters opposing that and telling people that. And I know the Planning Commission, and with those things, twice they denied the SUP. And it's going to run up here, and it just scares me to death because just driving down 2440, K32, I go the speed limit, somebody is on your butt, just wanting you to go faster, just pushing you. And I think of people behind those trucks that have a hard stop time, carrying whatever amount of load they're carrying, people using that interchange, going to work, kids getting on buses. So I guess, too, I want to know, and you don't have to answer this, was there traffic impact analysis done? Was there a heavy haul route study done? I don't know if there's bridges, but a bridge capacity analysis, pavement degradation, road maintenance agreement, did KDOT study driveways or access permits? I don't know, but that scares me to death. And I'll tell you why it hit me even harder. I lost my only child in a motorcycle accident. He was 26 years old, and I would not wish that pain on anybody. And it took me, 4 years. He'd be 32 today. To even want to, go on. And I thought, well, I can find joy in my farm, taking care of it like I have, painting, and find a little bit of peace. And then I got 2 years out of that, and then here we are dealing with the data center. And I was cleaning out, trying to organize. I got these out. We passed them out when we were doing petitions. I can leave one with you if you like. But this was 6 weeks ago. And in this, just in 6 weeks, 6 weeks ago, it was 500 acres of farmland and 600 megawatts of electricity. Now it's 1,000 acres and 1.2 gigawatts of diggies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did that happen? And we haven't even done anything. I was shocked because I was going to bring this up at the meeting to give to my friends and neighbors to use it, and I just was reading it, and I thought, wow, this doesn't even apply anymore. And I just can't wrap my head around this, and the fact that fire departments aren't listening to, planning and zoning isn't listening to, and it makes me wonder, who can I trust? Who can I trust? And I'm on a well. I spent all last summer, 3 months I couldn't take a bath. I had my well acidized, the pump was new 2 years ago. I got 19 seconds. All the plumbing redone, and I'm still dealing with water issues. You know, and to put this in there, and we're all on well. We're all on well. I just can't fathom how you guys could even consider this.
Thank you very much. Further public comment. Good morning.
Morning. I'm Alicia Mine. I live at 208 South Main Street. I hear a lot of addresses in Tonganoxie. I'm not hearing a lot of address of our local people here. I have talked to people, my neighbors. It's disappointing that people take so little consideration of what's going on in Tonganoxie. We're literally paying for our own demise. The demise of our community, the demise of our society, the demise of our intelligence, of our free will. There are people on this committee that have already made decisions that should recuse themselves from this decision completely, making threats to community members, telling them they're going to reappraise their properties. The abuse of power is disgusting. The fact that, we can't discuss our religious beliefs, our spiritual beliefs without that being considered out of line. I've been criticized, slandered by a commissioner. I would like my 90 days. I am a data analyst, a geographer. I have started compiling data to try to prove what all these uninformed people have been telling us about water, about electricity, about the financial and economics of this. I want my 90 days. And I've sent my resume to you, Mr. Steiben. You can see whether you think I'm qualified. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Are you taking handouts, or should I give them to him?
Give them to them, and then we'll get them.
I'll give them to him first.
All right. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Judy Iva Smith, 905 Church Street, Tonganoxie. I regret having to leave the meeting at break last week. Chairman Mike in this meeting noted some accomplishments of the county. The first on his list was public comment form, greatly appreciated. The second was access to view these meetings on YouTube. I think this transparency is fantastic. Later, he noted 51 permits for small businesses, which will bring millions and millions of dollars to the county. I love this kind of growth. Mike also asked for the price for an advisory election on the data center proposal. Mike, I am hoping that you can follow up on that topic and again this week, and a big yes to paper ballots. One of the commissioners made remarks that gave me great concerns. With access to the YouTube, I included those remarks in the information I handed out. They are in print, which is verbatim. So the facts that I addressed today are with clear and certain truth. I was the person who stated all the benefits that were proposed that would have been provided have never been missed. This was in reference to the Tyson proposal. This commissioner remarked that we could not state that with certainty or honesty because we did not have the opportunity to have this experience. I don't have to jump off a bridge to know it's a bad experience. And my thoughts were, thank God our concerns were listened to. I provided a picture of 2,500 citizens protesting the Tyson in Tonganoxie at the VFW Park in Tonganoxie, which was nearly half the population of the town. This picture was actually taken by my nephew. I will state that these people were very aware of the concerns and the project revenue projected by this project. Like me, they were filled with emotional concerns about what this project might entail. To disregard these constituents with a statement like that is actually shocking, quite frankly. Thank you, Mike Smith, for recognizing that citizens are emotional because this is concerning them. This one commissioner is looking for honesty and facts and thought that certain groups could be basing their decisions on emotion, and that was not appreciated. I will not be checking my emotions at the door. I can guarantee you, anyone that takes their time to come up here and comment, attend, or support a cause is emotionally concerned, and it is bizarre not to acknowledge that. They would not have these if they weren't invested. I have two new emotions towards the data center after last week's comments made by this commissioner, and that is anger and frustration. Unlike any of the commissioners sitting before me, I don't get paid here by my tax dollars. This comes as a cost to me, and many citizens have noted that. Yes, the Leavenworth County citizens are always concerned about their taxes and how that money is used. But when alerted to health facts, safety, environmental erosion, future and present well-being of their families and community, and our precious small-town lifestyles, we realize that money at this cost is a bad investment. This commissioner mainly noted the lost perceived revenue caused by the derailed Tyson project, and I'm very disturbed that might be the only issue this commissioner is considering with Bluestem. I included in my handout the unaddressed Tyson concerns by this commissioner. Many are scarily similar to the data center being proposed. I also included a list of concerns about Bluestem. I stand on my previous statement that history is the best indicator for the future. I pray we are all open-minded, regardless of what district you represent, that will not physically be affected by the new data center, other than to receive a possible inexperienced financial benefit. Each of you took an oath to the U.S. Constitution when you were sworn in, and I will remind you of the first three words: we the people. I guarantee you I will be returning with facts on the list of concerns I handed out about Bluestem, as truthful as I can acquire. God bless you and guide you in your decision for the goodness of humanity, our environment, our small town community, because that is what your actions actually entail. Once again, thank you for your open ears, and please vote yes on the moratorium.
Thank you. Come on down. You're limping around like me.
Yeah, maybe a little worse, Mike. Name's Jerry Pruitt. I live at 21800 Parallel Road, Tonganoxie. I don't speak as well as my wife or as long. I've just got a few points. First, for Cloverleaf, a question on the labor that if this goes through, and we certainly hope it doesn't, if the labor comes in to build this facility, is it going to be union labor? Are we going to pull people out of Louisiana to come, non-union, to come in and build this labor, to build this building, to make the repairs? And that's a question I'd like to know from them, because if it's not union labor, we certainly don't want it. And then again, I don't want non-union or union building this facility. My second question is for this body here. Can't we make time for a 7 o'clock meeting so we can get everyone that is opposed to this at a meeting? I know we can make certain exceptions for Miss Reed, since she seems to can't make a 7 o'clock meeting. Work around that, or make a date where she can make one. And my last one, I probably forgot by now. I'm getting old. But one of my last things to say is, again, I'm opposed to this. We all are. I went to the little meeting last night, and Mr. Vance was, yeah, and he made a point that yes, there was a lot of people there, and they had roughly 20 representatives there, and there was a lot of other people there, but everyone I saw had a no data center sticker or plaque on. So it wasn't all the jolly ho-ho-hos that he proposed. we don't want it. And Cloverleaf has made this point, and they've stated this, that if the citizens don't want it, we will leave. So I'm asking them right now, pack your bags and leave, please. Get out of our community. Thank you.
It is 10:15. We're going to take a 10-minute break.
Mike, can I say one thing first, please? Could I be allowed to?
This is just a point of personal privilege, but yes, go ahead.
All right. For all of you who think that environmental concerns are not realistic, my husband will kill me for this, but you look at my husband and see what Agent Orange did.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to take a 10-minute break. What's that?
Linda Sufert, 17291 182nd Street, Tonganoxie, Kansas, 66086.
Okay, we're going to let you get in under the wire. Then we're going to take a break.
Appreciate
Go
it.
ahead.
Between my husband's family and my own, we've been in Leavenworth County since 1850s. There wasn't a lot of other people there, well, of us, immigrants, how's that? And there were a lot of people, but not immigrants. And what I want to say, I've listened to all these people. It's very emotional. It's very concerning. And but nobody's talked about that. For us, we live on 160 acres, and so the first thing that happens is somebody comes to our door and says, "Waiving money. We want it right away through your property." Oh no, we don't want that. My son, the attorney, says, "Well, you know they can condemn it." And I was like, but how could they do that? Well, that's the law. And what I'm saying is, please give us at least the moratorium, or, as Jerry said, let it go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we are taking a 10-minute break, and we will be back in, let's say, at 25 after. Close to 10 minutes. All right, we will reconvene, and we will reconvene to public comment, and we'll welcome.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, good morning. My name is Richard Paz. I live at 17715 Michaels Road. I appear today as a Leavenworth County resident and taxpayer. Now, this board will hear the tax revenue analysis during the work session immediately following here in a few. Now, what I want to add, as I've said publicly before, is that the other side of the ledger needs to be spoken of and understood for everybody, commissioners and the citizens, and that is the cost side, which I don't expect to be covered during the presentation, hence why I'm talking. So you've heard already Senate Bill 98, the law which makes the project possible, creates a 20-year, 100% sales tax exemption on all construction materials, equipment, and every hardware replacement cycle for 2 decades. This will affect a follow-on tech company that assumes the operation after Cloverleaf has developed it. So this means every server, every GPU cluster, every upgrade for 20 years. If I could do that, I'd be buying my Mac Studios every other year if I got such a sales tax exemption and do my AI work at home and not have to bother other people. So at the 1.2 gigawatt scale, which has been described as the power requirements, and based on Senate Bill 98, the county share of the exemption is approximately $1.5 billion of revenue foregone over 20 years based upon my initial calculations. And compare that roughly against the $270 million in property tax benefits you'll hear about, and I've normalized the 30-year calculations in the packet to 20, which comes out to $270 million. And so during that same time frame, this is, again, foregone revenue. Now, based on Cloverleaf's own public materials, they show very similar 30-year totals, $152 million to the school district, $93 to the county, $98 million to the city of Tonganoxie, all modeled with an initial 10-year payment in lieu of taxes. This was on their poster last night when someone posted on Facebook, which drew my attention. And so that assumes annexation from the city. So in Kansas, a payment in lieu of taxes exists only when some portion of the property tax has been abated through an industrial revenue bond. Now, that is the opposite of what the Chief Development Officer said in the past, that Cloverleaf would not request any property tax exemption. So I think there needs to be some clarification on that. Again, the pilot was listed on their community engagement poster. And so when you add those together, the benefit plus the revenue foregone, that means the county's net fiscal position is approximately a negative $1.2 billion. Now, I know some might say that that's a model. It's not a certainty, but let me describe what is not a model. 2 weeks ago, on 27 May, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced a formal pause on all new data center tax exemptions in his state of Ohio. The reason is Ohio's exemption was supposed to cost $136 million a year, but the actual cost in 2025 was $1.6 billion, almost 12 times the official estimate. Another representative from the state called it, and I quote, one of the worst tax breaks in Ohio history. And so other states are finding out what SB 98 is going to do if we fall through with this. So in Ohio, they estimated $136 million. It actually cost them $1.6 billion, and the governor said, let's stop. So it was 12 times the forecast. In Georgia, they estimated $327 million per year cost, but what the projections are showing is $2.5 billion. So that's 8 times what they thought they were going to forego. And then here, Kansas is probably the mother of all tax exemptions. The Senate Bill 51, which got inserted into that gut and go thing, they said, oh, it's only $9.8 million. Right. And when it got into SB 98, there was no more committee hearings, no more analysis. In this case, the state was negligent in calculating the return on investment or even the cost to the entire state and to ordinary Kansans. So Kansas enacted a policy that Ohio and Georgia are now walking back. Kansas' underestimation of its own fiscal note is the most extreme of any state that has attempted this program. Now, I've already talked about the 98 being a gut-and-go process. Now, the same legislature, our legislature, is projecting our overall revenue to be in the red by 2027. And it's like, of course it's going to be in the red when we legislate all the revenue to go to oligarchs, billionaires, whatever you want to call them. So in that case, any crisis that someone tells you has probably been legislated, and this is another example. RHIDs being another, where they're shifting revenue from the state to private parties. But in some cases, the public benefit could outweigh that. But I just wanted to note that we need to take all costs under consideration in this operation because it's been legislated. It was not legislated by you. It is not controlled by you. So that's why we need a moratorium so you can assess the full cost, both positive and negative, and then what the impacts are on your citizens. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? So your projection is for 20 years.
Yes.
And their projection from Cloverleaf is for 30 years. So their projection says $358 million, but you've extrapolated that for the 20-year estimate.
Correct. So I had to normalize the data or to adjust it from 30 to 20. So that's why my number might be different.
So on this estimate here, we're going to get the foregone sales tax revenue to Leavenworth County is going to be $800 million to $2.2 billion.
It's a range.
Right.
Possible range.
So even if you're getting an advantage on some sales tax, you're actually, if you take into account the state incentives or subsidies, whatever you want to call it, we're actually going in the hole.
Yes, when you add it all together, add in both benefits and cost, again, cost. And again, an exemption has the same effect as a state writing a check. If an entity should pay its taxes like every law-abiding taxpayer does, it has the same effect in the end. But it looks worse if you write a check directly to them and say, oh, no, you can't do that. But that's why the exemption is very subtle in its presentation as, we wouldn't have the money anyway. But yes, you would if you paid your taxes.
So on your next chart, you show that 270 or 269,760. is the property tax benefit for the 20-year period, and then you extrapolate out what the Senate Bill 98 incentive is, which is 1.5 billion.
Right.
And then you add in the community benefit fund, which was included in the estimate, and you get the final net negative of $1.2 million.
Billion.
$1 billion.
Right,
sorry.
right.
Billion,
Yeah.
million.
Yeah, million, a billion, a billion's 1,000 millions. No big deal. Yeah, but
so the bottom line is we're not making anything out of this deal. We're having a little carrot dangled, but when you really add up all the money, you got to look at this in the macro. The macro is the state of Kansas has created this tax structure where we're actually, as taxpayers, we're losing money on the deal.
Right, and in near real time, the states of Ohio and Georgia are facing that and having to take action to put, hey, let's take a time out. They've already gone through what we're about to embark on.
And didn't in Ohio, Senator DeWine said
Governor
DeWine said that our incentives are out of control. We got to look at this.
In their case, their projections are nowhere near what's actually happening. And so we have some evidence showing, well, this could turn out to be similar in Kansas. And really, that this fact that the citizens are doing this is what our legislature should have done in fine detail. But we know the incentive was there and why. And they would, someone might say, well, they'll go somewhere else. Then go somewhere else, because the cost to the citizens, the health, welfare, and safety is not factored in either. I haven't even addressed. Well, the people have addressed that quite well.
Yeah.
And there's no monetary figure that's going to make that good. Also, I'd just like to add.
Can you provide these figures to the staff so they can be distributed?
Yeah, will do.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Storm. I live at 14404 State Avenue in Basser. I'm a teacher. I teach in Tonganoxie and in Basser. I'm an itinerant, so I work in all of the school buildings. I wasn't planning to speak. I just found out about this meeting last night, so pardon me if it's not super cohesive. But I wanted to share my personal experience, not necessarily the facts and figures, which everyone else here has provided for you pretty adequately, I think. I've been reading, though. I've been trying to follow the data center, primarily health impact. I am planning to have my parents, who also live in Basser, move in with me. I'm looking for a home. So we looked at a home in Tonganoxie, and it didn't quite suit our needs, but what I realized soon after we looked at the home in Tonganoxie is I don't want to live there. I did want to live there, but now I'm scared to live there. And that's too bad, because that's my top choice in terms of a community to live. I've lived in Lawrence, I've lived in Olathe, I live in Basser, and because I work in Tonganoxie, I'm pretty familiar with them. I've worked there for 10 years. I really like the town, and what I realize is my plans were just put on hold, maybe for 3 months. Maybe I'm no longer a contender to live in Tonganoxie because I don't want to be exposed to environmental impact, nor do I want my parents exposed to that. Or my dog, for quite frankly, like that's important to me. I'm also considering, if the AI data center is actually built, of quitting my job in Tonganoxie. I don't want to be exposed to things that are harmful to me. It would be really sad for me to do that. Not my intention until this particular issue came up. I just wanted to share that. This is impacting things that I didn't even expect. But it's definitely causing me to rethink big moves in my life. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Morning.
Brian Morley, 23947 Chieftain Road. Today, I would like to maybe raise up Public Keys person. Lots of people have said, what about the family that own this land? I was friends with Paul McKee for 35 years. He was a client and a friend. One of the most generous, most loving, kindest people you will ever know. He literally kept up with, in his 90s, friends from grade school from Red Oak, Iowa. I mean, all over the country. He was one of the first Air Force pilots after World War II. He defended the country. If you look at his obituary, it's in October of 2022. It literally says he proposed to his wife, Liz, on the first date. He did. He proposed to her. She accepted. He came up to KU to visit her on campus. She was out on a date. She goes, I'm engaged to you. I'm not married to you. So she was kind of like, I'm still a free spirit. They had a complete love for all that time. That house on the property is actually Liz's house. It's not part of this deal. Her youngest daughter wants that house, and even though this is going on, she still wants it. I'm friends with the whole family. I do not think that they know all the actual details. It seems like a money thing. It's 3 sisters and their husbands that are selling this. So, do they have? You asked my neighbor Ann. Do you not think that they have a right to sell? They absolutely have a right to sell. Is their father rolling in his grave? Absolutely, he's rolling in his grave. The grave is on the middle of this 500-acre site. And we interred him. I did all the flowers. I dealt with the family. Was I sad? I was sad because it's a pillar of our community that died. The 3 families that now are controlling this, they don't care. They live in Johnson County. They're very wealthy. If you like to write them letters and say, here's the real facts behind this, your father would be so horrified that this town would be exposed to particulate, to EMFs, to tonal noise, to property value loss, to the town actually imploding and dying. This is a lovely, real town that people want to move into, not move out of. So, if you want to look up his obituary, the names of his daughters are in there. Let your fingers do the walking. Please write them polite, clear letters explaining, as if they don't know what's going on, that they don't know about all these negatives. Because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. My friend Linda Johnson, who's my client and friend, she feels horrible. I don't think she actually has researched this. I don't think she does really feel horrible because she doesn't know all the negative impact. Her father would be so disappointed in his 3 daughters and their families treating his beautiful land like this. This was a man who grew up in Iowa. He loved the land. He loved his animals. He liked the neighbors. He loved his trees. This is an affront to the town, to the heir, the man who built this. He put all these little places together, and to me, it was one of those. It was almost like, I don't know, like Falcon Crest or something. It's like this beautiful place. He gave beef to City of Tonganoxie to feed people. This is not a selfish ban. So I'm reaching out to Linda and Brian Johnson and Paula and John Longan and to Sarah and her husband Ralph. Please research what this is. This is not worth the money. It isn't. The dollars are so ridiculous. You're talking about your community's health, the future of our community, our babies, our wildlife. The idea of harming an unborn anything terrifies me. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Further public comment? Ted.
Ted Grinter, 15991, 238th Street, Tonganoxie. I just can't understand how we're still talking about this. We have pleaded, begged, tried to get you to think that we really don't want this place. We went to the Cloverleaf conversation yesterday, and they are sweet. They are very well taught on their lines. They very nice people.
Good cookies.
Yeah, great cookies. I don't know who made the cookies. They're really good. And they all.
Well, that's good. Common ground. Cookies.
They told all. They had an answer for every question. They didn't miss a beat. They never stuttered. So they've been taught well. But I want to have the time for everybody to do more research. We don't know exactly what this is going to do to us. Is it going to mess up our water? The closed loop system, is it going to use that much water? Is it, if they have a leak, what's that going to do? Because we know it's going to leak. Something's going to happen. Contaminate the water, contaminate the creek, which goes down and goes all the way into Stranger, which goes into the Kansas River, and contaminate all of that. If it doesn't settle, that stuff doesn't go away. If they have PFAS. If they don't, that's great. But if everything they said was right, man, they're going to have sunshine and rainbows. It'd be great. But I think there's a middle ground in here. But I think we need to have more time. This moratorium needs to be in place. We don't need them. We need them to go away, but we also need more research. We've tried, and you guys are here to represent us. And we ought to, if you can't listen to us, maybe we need to have a vote in Tongi and everybody that's surrounded that area and see how they feel about it. Not just yelling out, we got a petition for Tonganoxie. Well, big deal. And that was easy. Did that in 4 days, and that didn't take long. But let's have a vote. See how they feel. See how your constituents feel about the power, that much power being used, the water, we haven't even talked about the power system that's got to be put in to supply the power to them. You know, how much water is it going to use? And pollution, all the ramifications of that. 1.2 million, is that right? What they're wanting to put in? Aaron says he lives a mile from a data center. 250 megawatts. That is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're wanting to put here. It will. That doesn't make any noise. This is going to make noise. I love my sleep, which I don't get very much of, but when I get to, the tonal noise. I like to go outside. I watch birds in my backyard. I watch the bees. I watch the sunsets. I want to be, and it's quiet. Yeah, I hear a car every now and then. But if I hear noise all the time, it is infuriating. I get out of my tractor and I shut it off. Even if I have to be out for 5 minutes, I shut it off because I don't want to hear it either. I understand, my machinery is loud, and I don't like listening to it either. And it'd be nice if we could shut this off. We don't need to hear it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It'll never shut up. It's just a drone that you'll hear all the time. It won't be loud. It'll be obnoxious that you can't shut off. We need to be able to shut it off, and I think we ought to just shut it off for good. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Is there public comment? Come on down.
Just a couple of little things here. Now, I'm of an age where I need my glasses, and I left them at home, so I'm going to do my best here, and I made the print nice and big. A 200. Oh, by the way, Kim Colbert. No. Kim Colbert. I live here in I live in Tonganoxie at 2325 East Sycamore Street. 200 megawatt AI center, and that is an important distinction, with backup natural gas generators. And believe me, when he said diesel, I perked my ears because that's where we started. At any rate, if you completely close all of the cooling loops and fill everything up, you're looking at about 230,000 gallons of coolant to fill all those lines, plus or minus. This is estimates I'm dealing with, calculating off of internet numbers, so you know. We still don't know for sure what will be in that coolant. It can all be water. It can be a glycol mix. Hopefully not antifreeze, ethylene glycol. But anyway, we know probably that's going to be in there, the propylene glycol. We know water's going to be in there. And then what they put in there are commercial mixes that are proprietary. We don't really know what else they put in that coolant, but I can tell you approximately what they are. They're going to be corrosion inhibitors. And for those things, they're going to put in azoles, nitrates, nitrites, or nitrites, molybdenum salts, metal salts, and these are going to prevent your metal parts and pipes from corroding. Well, they'll reduce the corroding. But all of these are toxic to aquatic and terrestrial life and will contaminate local supplies, or local water supplies if they get out. Then there's glycol protectors. Now, commonly used additives for this include borates, dipotassium phosphates, and most of those are to buffer because you want to keep the pH in there because get off the pH, you got more corrosion. Then there's biocides that get put in, and that's to control the bacterial and algal growth. These are actively toxic and can irritate the skin or the respiratory system. Includes isothiazolin. I'm a chemist. I can't even say this word. Yeah, isothiazolinones. There we go. DBPNPA, which is 2,2-dibromose-3 nitrilopropionamide, and tetrakis hydroxymethylphosphonium sulfate, which is THPS, and it depends on the bacteria. Okay, those all target different types, aerobic and anaerobic bacteria, and the kind that like to stick to metal to make the slimy bacterial molds that can happen. Now, theoretically, this system would never lose water if it's completely closed, but brand spanking new, they're going to lose about 1 to 5% because there's just going to be some holes. There's going to be vents. There's going to lose a certain amount, even if there's no corrosion in there. And as it corrodes, it gets worse. So you can get up to, if it gets up to 10%, it's time to do some maintenance. 10% loss is any loss it's going to be filled up with makeup water, and that can actually accelerate this deterioration. The longer they run, the worse they get. So when it comes time to fix this, you drain, you flush 3 times, and you repair, and then you fill it back up with a new fresh mix. Okay, now by my calculations, that's 920,000 gallons of contaminated coolant to dispose of. That's for a 200 megawatt. Okay, now that's not even what all's in there because, what I just list, there's what comes out of the metal and the system that's coming as the stuff gets cooled. So you've got copper ions because there's occasionally some copper metal in there. You've got aluminum ions, and they tend to make slimy sludge from aluminum hydroxide. You've got iron 2 and iron 3, which is ferrous and ferric. That's oxides, that's rust. Then nickel is included in some spots, mostly to cover up copper. And if the nickel erodes away, somebody sit on my purse. If the nickel erodes away, it exposes the copper. And then the copper ions are coming back in again. And then nobody talks about this much because it is just a trace in stainless steel. But if you get good corrosion, you get chromates. The last thing I guess I'm going to deal here is there's a lot of things that degrade. You got to be sure about how they're going to handle this water. You have just got to be sure about how they handle this. Because if you've got 6 of these buildings times the 900,000 I just told you about these flush and fills, they do a flush and fill once a year. That's your 1.2. That's millions and millions of gallons.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can't let you speak again to the end, the very end. Come on down.
Morning. West Baker, Stranger Township, Tonganoxie. I had a humbling experience this morning, right before I walked in. I stood under the picture of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And I just thought, those guys, if anybody, since the colonies, understood democracy, they were the ones. And I would strongly suggest to everybody in this room, when they depart, to go stand under the photos of Washington and Lincoln and think about their opinions and their performance regarding democracy and how your personal performance has either honored or dishonored democracy, especially in the process of the people on the board who sworn to uphold the Constitution. They either don't understand the oath of office, they're derelict of duty of the oath of office, but after that, the result is denial of democracy for the people that you swore to represent. Defiance of democracy, denial of democracy, that's your performance, and that's your legacy that you're going to live with, and your future generations will live with going forward. That's a great legacy to have, isn't it? Isn't that a wonderful legacy to have? And we voted for these people? Really? Woo! Maybe they changed positions. They come in saying this, but then they flip. Have you ever heard of a politician flipping? Oh, man. Every day. And we're here to witness it in Leavenworth County. Isn't that wonderful? That's wonderful. Great place. Last night, I spoke with the CEO of Cloverleaf. We talked about the Cloverleaf business plan. We talked about high-level sales. We talked about data centers. And during the conversation, I suggested, during my research over the past 2 months, engaging with people that I know personally that sell in the equipment that build data centers.
I've got some pretty good resources. And they know the facts. And they had never lived next to each one. Never. They're a disaster waiting to happen. And it's already been proven. Historically, it's a fact. If you do the research, you'll find other areas in the country that are backing up and stalling on data centers. It's a fact, folks. And that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do, because that's what the people, folks, voted you to vote for, is to stop crap like this affecting their lives and the environment forever. That's what you were elected to do, but some of you deny democracy for the people. It's sickening. It's despicable. So in our conversation on data centers with the CEO of Cloverleaf, I suggested there was negative impact, documentation, well documented, on data centers, impact to the environment, and impact to the community. Here's his response. This is the CEO of the guys you're falling in love with. Okay? It's a sickening romance. He said, we will do the best we can to minimize impact. Two things from that discussion to take away. First of all, he admits there's going to be negative impact right off the bat. I'm quoting him. Negative impact. He said he'd minimize it. What's that mean? Who knows? He's the front.
Thank you very
he's
much.
the front end. He don't operate the rear end that causes the damage.
Thanks, Wes. Thank you, Wes. Further public comment. Okay. All right. Al, come on down.
Morning.
Morning. I'm nervous. I've not done this. I don't like public speaking.
You'll be fine.
Think of it as a big family.
Okay, I'll try. Family can be, My name is Lisa Hagee. I live at 14755 243rd Street in Leavenworth. I'm concerned because I don't want this. I think that we need more research on it. I don't know why we can't put a pause on it. Like the woman said earlier, give us 90 days. That's all we ask. Do your due diligence. Look, there's all kinds of research out there. You can look at other states like Virginia and the rural areas, what's happened to them, and know that they're not happy. You can see all of the debates they're having up in Ohio with experts who tell you what the negative impacts are when you rush things. You don't rush things. You don't want to hurt people, the environment. It's not a good thing. I had a dad who he wound up dying from asbestos. So you want to take into consideration not the dollars, take into consideration how it's going to affect the people, the future generations, the agriculture. It's something I strongly believe in. And I know that I was here, that the meeting that Aaron was here, and he said, if you guys don't want us here, we won't build. And just give us time, let us vote on it, let everybody in Tongi vote on it, the people surrounding, hear their voice. If they want it, great. If they don't, then please be a man of your word and just go. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment. Anybody else? Last call. All right. We will move on. Administrative business. Do we have a county clerk report? No. You want to read it?
No, you wouldn't. I don't get it.
Okay, we're going to read. Today is going to be a proclamation on World Elder Abuse Day. So I'll read the proclamation. Proclamation World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, June 15th, 2026, to all citizens of Leavenworth County. Greetings. Whereas June 15th is recognized internationally as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and its recognition will promote a better understanding of abuse and neglect of older adults. And whereas, as our population lives longer, we are presented with an opportunity to think about our collective needs and future as a nation. And whereas ageism and social isolation are major causes of elder abuse in the United States, and whereas recognizing that it is up to all of us to ensure that the proper social structures exist so people can retain community and societal connections, reducing the likelihood of abuse, and whereas preventing abuse of older adults through maintaining and improving social supports like senior centers, human services, and transportation will allow everyone to continue to live as independently as possible and contribute to the life and vibrancy of our communities. Now, therefore, I, Mike Stevens, Chairman, Board of Leavenworth County Commissioners of Leavenworth County, do hereby proclaim Monday, June 15th as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Leavenworth County, and urge all residents to recognize and celebrate older adults and their ongoing contributions to the success and vitality of our community.
Very good, Mike. Very good.
Comments?
That was good.
Okay. Consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Discussion? No discussion. Mr. Smith? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Yeah, we'll get a swing back to that. Okay. Administrative business. Mr. Lawfrey. Nothing, so I'll go to you.
The only thing I was going to say is, folks, appreciate all the comments. Appreciate getting to know some of you don't know. Remember, there's elections going on this year. You need to ask your county, people who are running for county commissioner, and especially the state, whatever they're doing, who put us in this predicament, how they feel and how they're going to solve this. We talk about 3 months moratorium. We really need to back it off. Some states that we've talked about, Georgia and other things like that, they put a time on it totally. We've got to get more information on this. So you've got 3 new county commissioners coming in. Please take the time for the ones running for office to ask them one-on-one, do you support this? And then vote accordingly. That's all I have.
Okay, I had the opportunity to meet with the county clerk, Fran, and we discussed the logistics and possibility of conducting an advisory election and what potential costs might be. And if we had a 5-member board that was volunteers, the commission would appoint, and we had a voting board to, say, have the vote at the fairgrounds, and possibly also have a 5-member board to also appoint for the northern part of the county, maybe a location in Leavenworth. We could have an advisory election, which would use paper ballots. Fran has agreed she would train the election boards off-site. She can't use the equipment that is designated for the other elections, but advisory vote could just use a paper ballot. We could print it off of our copy machines. Just be simple, yes or no. Your view on the Hyper Data Center. And this would be, the cost ratio would probably be, if we just did the Tonganoxie area, would be negligible, probably $1,200 to $2,000, right in that range. But I would suggest that we do the whole county because we want to take a informal measurement. Any measurement you take is always an informal measurement. Because we know that at our school board elections we have 13% turnout sometimes. So it's just the people that come out and want to make their voice heard. But this is an opportunity for us to actually take a measurement and know how people feel. So I'm going to ask that the board allow me to have Fran work with the county councilor to come up with maybe a couple options on this, and but the price is very reasonable, and we don't have to buy election equipment or anything like that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to weigh in on this, and that is that we had twice in the past done something before we have had a chance to put it on the agenda for the coming week.
Well, I'm suggesting we put it on the agenda. That's
You
what,
are?
Yeah, that's what this
On
is
the
about.
agenda? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure that we are doing that and not voting it in now.
No. It's just.
Thank you.
I want to put it on the agenda for discussion.
I have no problem with getting information. I don't know how much staff time we have, but I would want more than just one thing because this.
You want the whole county?
Yeah, I would want. Well, we can look at both and just
But-
say there's a cost, and I think if it's going down south, I got a good feeling it's probably going up north too. So why would you want to come back and do 4 independent vote in on the center? I think my opinion right now, just looking at it without all the other stuff, is that we probably want to do it countywide.
Can we just put together some draft proposals that come back to the board?
Commissioners, I just want to clarify, is there a consensus from the board to put this on the election and direct staff to work with the clerk to provide some measures for the county commission to consider?
Do we need to have a vote on that? Or?
I would prefer it because I'm just hearing, I think, 2 of you right now. And
Okay, then I'll go ahead and move. I move that we put it on the agenda to consider an advisory election and direct county staff and to work with county clerk to come up with 2 or 3 options on different methods of conducting the election.
I'll second.
Is there discussion?
My concern is, as you already stated, with voter turnout, when we have regular general elections, we don't make it out of 20% sometimes.
That we can't force people to vote.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're trying to govern off of a vote specifically on an issue, we would potentially not know how 80% or more of people felt that we would be making that decision.
It's advisory. It's advisory, so we wouldn't. It doesn't bind us. It's just simply advisory.
If it's not binding,
Then why
what
do
would
it?
be the point of
To measure public sentiment. That's what it is.
roughly 20% or less? I mean, do you expect that it's going to be?
I mean, I get criticized if I put a survey out and people say, well, you didn't do enough surveys. So if this seems like a way that we can more accurately measure public opinion on this.
So we elect county commissioners and state reps on less than 30%.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we want to get an influx to see what all the people in the county feel about it?
So further discussion. Jeff?
It's not going to get it finished.
All right, well, we're going to...
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So what's the elected for? All 3 entities, data centers, battery, and I see here where we're talking about cycle currency. Are we talking about all 3 of those?
No, we're talking specific Project Bluestem.
For data centers only?
For this.
Specific project only.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So I guess we'll just voting, Commissioner Smith.
Can we continue discussion?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I think that if I see something on the ballot, not being on the board, or someone as involved in the people in our audience are now, which most people aren't, I think that they would believe that vote would outcome the decision, right? Like, if you go to the ballot box, then you vote, and you see the outcome of that election, I think you would believe that would be the outcome of the project. I think that it's just not good practice, personally.
They call it an advisory vote, where you will know, after we have the vote, we'll know how the citizens feel. If you want to go against how the citizens feel, you can go ahead and do that. So, voting. Aye.
No.
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 Please.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
This is a deliberative body. We have to. This is the way it works. So let's move forward. Consider a motion to approve the bid from Lina Weaver Construction of replacement of the transfer station.
I'm sorry, I thought we were going to have...
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped the Go ahead, Commissioner Duff. Give it any administrative business. I'm sorry. I didn't complete the administrative business around the circle.
No, I don't have anything to say right now. No.
Thank you so much. If I was governing through emotional decisions and I was only making decisions based off of individuals who have self-admitted that they are emotional speakers, I might be easily misled. One of the things I would like to talk about today is farmers. I'm from a family of farmers, which is what makes me fifth generation Leavenworth County. We're immigrant farmers. We had the Schirmbeck farm at the corner of 20th and Eisenhower, and I understand the beauty of the county, and this area has changed a lot. I was born September 24th, 1982, and so we had a lot more gravel roads. 20th did not look anything like it does today. In fact, my grandfather sold the land to Church of the Open Door, and then I had to experience his frustration for years about a light that they put shining in the kitchen window. So these are real things. I used to love spending my summers laying out in the fields, watching the Kansas sky and the sunsets and all that. So I understand these concerns, obviously. I have never lived across the street from a data center or have a data center in my backyard. And contrary to popular belief, I live in the city of Leavenworth. You're welcome to come by. I just put a new pool in a few weeks ago. So I do not have a county view. I do love county views, and so occasionally I'll take pictures of them as I drive through the county, which is my profile picture currently on my county commission page. So one of the largest things I've heard is water usage, and I find it 100% hypocritical from every person that's talking about preserving farmland, because farmers are some of the largest consumers of water. If we're literally going to talk about water,
Bullshit. That is This is not a dry farming area. Oh my God! You are very, very naughty little girl. And that new Jaguar and the pool.
Please.
You need to go.
my Jaguar is a 2016.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
My Jaguar is 2016. It's not new,
Just a moment.
but I wish it was.
We don't want to hear you. Like you don't want to hear us.
Hey, hold on. Come on,
Guys. We have to do this with decorum, and we have to do this with civility. That's what we're here to do. We've heard all of your concerns. I share all of them. But let me tell you, if we can't have order in here, then I will clear this room.
So farmers use significantly more water than data centers. Agriculture is the largest consumer of fresh water globally, accounting for about 70% of worldwide water withdrawals. By comparison, all U.S. data centers combined account for less than 1% of the country's daily water withdrawals. To understand the sheer difference in scale, consider these comparisons. The numbers. U.S. farms use tens of trillions of gallons of water each year, mostly for crops and livestock feed. In contrast, global data center consumption is in the hundreds of billions of gallons. Crop versus server. A single mega farm or a large-scale almond or corn operation can consume as much water in a week or two as a massive data center uses in an entire year. Despite data centers using a small fraction of the water agriculture requires, their water consumption is highly controversial. Facts matter. That's my first point. Moving on to my second. The Kansas legislature actively courted data centers to capture massive, multi-billion-dollar corporate investments, create high-paying construction and operational jobs, and bolster the local tax base. Lawmakers specifically wanted these facilities over Missouri, which is the game that we're playing, not only in this case, to prevent Kansas from missing out on lucrative, high-tech infrastructure and to establish the state as a major digital hub. To successfully outcompete Missouri and win these projects, the Kansas legislature enacted strategic, highly competitive economic development measures. Aggressive tax exemption, as seen in Senate Bill 98. When Kansas passed this legislation, it provided a standardized 20-year sales tax and use exemption, as we've talked about, for qualifying data centers. This eliminates major cost barriers on construction equipment and related services. To ensure the state receives a guaranteed economic return, the incentives are tied to strict performance metrics. Qualifying firms must invest at least $250 million and create a minimum of 20 full-time new jobs within 2 years. Data center operators must commit to long-term electricity contracts with local utility providers and adopt rigorous water conservation plans. Ensuring these developments sustainably support regional infrastructure. All qualified data center projects undergo security and critical infrastructure risk assessment. Moving on. I've heard a lot of complaints about the quality of the water. Farmers do not mitigate field chemicals to the exact same purity standard as municipal water treatment plants. The water that comes from the data center is going to be sent back through a water treatment plant. Mr. Paz, would you be willing to submit the financials that you went over to our county administrator for review? Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. I do believe Mr. Paz had already stated that he was going to submit that.
Yes, I already said that up front.
Yeah.
I did ask Mr. Paz for a meeting, and we agreed on it in public session, but I did not hear from him, and so I just wanted to double check.
Okay. Well, I did ask that in public session.
Thank you.
So that is administrative business. So we're going to move forward.
Mike, that was perfectly written and read by Pat Proctor and Mr. Masterson.
I'm sorry that you don't think I can think for myself, but I can.
Well, I will say that I appreciate your comments, Commissioner. So we'll move on.
Thank God.
Consider a motion to approve a bid for Lina Weaver construction for replacement of the transfer station tipping floor and apron in the amount of $70,000.
Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Welcome to the meeting.
Yes, sir. We released an RFP on the tipping floor and apron at the transfer station. We received 4 bids back, various in nature. Lina Weaver Construction was the lowest qualified bidder. My recommendation was Lina Weaver Construction, as they are the lowest qualified bidder.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Second.
Is there a motion?
I got a question here.
Well, let's do a motion and then we'll do the question. You want to make a motion?
I'll second Willie's motion.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and ask the question.
Aaron, these figures are really way off from one or the other. Was there any reason?
We had one addendum, and the addendum that we placed out there, we asked contractors to sign or initial that they received the addendum. Their packet did have an initial addendum that it was recognized that the concrete, after we poured it, was not 8 inches thick, it was 12 inches thick. Their packet was full and complete and acknowledged. At that point, I need to do my due diligence in representing
Well,
taxpayers
I
by
don't mind the
recommending the lowest qualified
But when
bid.
you're 50,000 off the next bid, that does draw my attention to it.
It did ours as well. I notified Mark as soon as I received all the bids.
But I don't mind no bids, so I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering if there was a reason. Okay.
No stated reason. Okay. So there's a motion on the floor. Is there further discussion? Okay. Voting, Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Aaron.
We have three different moratorium motions. I'd like to ask Mike from the Kansas Association of Counties, where are you at?
Commissioner,
Come on, what?
before we go too far on this, I would like to ask for an indulgence and move our executive session up before we address this matter.
Okay. Well, entertain a motion. So we don't need you, Mike, yet. Go ahead.
Okay. We all good for moving that?
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that the board recess for a closed executive meeting to consult with our attorneys and discuss confidential matters related to potential claims which are being privileged, and the attorney-client relationship is justified by KSA 754319B2, and the board resume open meetings at 11:45. In the meeting room of the board, president and executive meeting will be Commissioner Mike Smith, Jeff Culberson, Vanessa Reed, Billy Dove, Mike Steven, County Commissioner Mike Lowry, County Councilor Misty Brown, and Assistant County Councilor Ann Yatsula. Is that right? Yatsula?
Yatsula.
Hey, all right. Of course, you had to break it out for me in 3 different words, but that's okay. We got it.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there discussion? If not, voting, Mike?
Aye.
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 What time is it?
We'll be back quarter.
Okay. We'll reconvene, and I would like to ask Mike. Mike from the Kansas Association of Counties. Are you still here?
Mike Taylor.
Mike Taylor. Sorry, Mike.
Does he need to read that through?
I can't get the.
Mike who?
My brain is not. It's been a long morning.
Chair,
Yes.
we need to read us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Read us back in.
I'm glad you guys got it. The board has returned to regular session at 11:45 a.m. No action was taken. No decisions were made. The subject was limited to matters related to specific attorney-client privileges. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks
Just
for waiting, Mike.
a quick question. I wanted to verify this after our conversation with Misty the other day. Your CEO indicated that if we just let the current moratorium run, it would not interfere with the battery storage proposal. And it expires on the 10th of August.
Correct.
Okay. So
It wouldn't hurt that project. I want to clarify, that's for battery energy, not data center.
Right. Got it. And the neighbors are all happy with it. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
So that being said, just to begin discussion on these, we have a series of 3. I would suggest that we, what was stated is the project is not interfered with. It can go forward. We don't really need to separate the moratoriums because the moratoriums are going to end on the 10th of August currently. If we re-up the moratorium, we could just separate out at that time data centers, and we could separate out the other 2 items. So at this point, there's really no reason to unnecessarily legislate unless you wish to go down that route. So that'd be my suggestion.
I don't see a problem. You did a moratorium, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was, for 90 days. And they're on the same timeline. Mike spoke, it won't affect the project he's working on. So I'd like to see it just continue with the moratorium and go towards that date.
I also spoke with Mike Taylor and a couple of individuals, and it's not going to cause any harm to continue where we are, and the moratorium ceases at August 10th, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, they go on 4th, and anything else needs to be done, do it at that time.
Commissioner?
Okay.
Commissioner?
Just to be clear, we're leaving the 90-day moratorium in place.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So at that point, we're not going to do anything.
Do we need to do anything with that, Misty? A motion or anything?
No, you do not need to take any
Okay,
action.
okay.
So And just to clarify for everybody, moratorium stays in effect. So, presentation and discussion items. Commissioner Smith.
No, I've heard of no. Sorry.
I just had one comment. I've been doing some reading from the, I'm struggling to cite my source, but it's a university back east environmental forum that they did, and they discussed hyper data center water usage, and they indicated that actually 75% of the water usage is off-site. So when we're talking about water, we're not only merely talking about water in your locality, Tonganoxie, we're talking about the water usage from the increased amount of electricity that has to be generated for a hyper data center that has a closed loop system. That's between Maya, and people can correct me on these numbers, but I heard it's either between 5 and 25% increase in electricity cost for a loop system. So that I don't know the exact amount, but so that would increase the cost of water resources in the region, because you have to produce that much more electricity. And my understanding is this proposal is going to be using electricity equivalent, if it's 1.2 gigawatts or gigawatts, about like the city of Wichita and the city of Topeka, that much electricity. And so that takes a lot of water to produce that much electricity. So that's my point. Go ahead. Nothing. Mister?
There was a out of order public comment that was made that stated that my comments were from Masterson and Proctor. I find that highly flattering. They were my own comments. I did not get with any other soul on the planet. They were just my research only. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Culberson? All right. We will be, what we're going to do is, since it's 10 minutes till 12, we're going to break now for lunch for 1 hour, and then we're going to come back for the work session. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
To do our follow-up comments.
Yes, you will get to do that. I will allow that. Go ahead. Come on up. Sorry. I always forget the follow-up comments.
I can wait until after lunch.
Well, no, come on down, because we want to adjourn before we want to go back to the work session. I'm sorry. Final comments.
To be emotionally and spiritually committed to a community of people is the highest calling of humanity has been given. To love your neighbors, to feed strangers, which is what every farmer in this community does. There is a huge difference in the use of water for farming as opposed to AI and data centers. I will give every drop of the water I have to the preservation of our humanity. I will not give a drop of water to an industry that's sole use is to destroy our humanity. People are going to become unemployed. They won't be able to feed themselves. We won't be able to afford. We've spent all our money on billions of dollars on data centers instead of spending our money on rural hospitals, education, taking care of the elderly, the young, protecting women and children. We really need to think about where our priorities are and what we value most. What, in the end, are these data centers going to give our community? And if you have already made a decision, you need to recuse yourself. If you were invested some way in the Cloverleaf, you shouldn't be voting. And I am talking to you, Miss Reed. And to make threats to citizens is out of line. You know where I live? Good. Come find me. Look at how I live. Thank you.
Ted Green. Can we just caution? let's keep it on the issue.
Yeah, I'm going to try to. But I take issue on the water usage. There are very few farmers in Leavenworth County that irrigate. I do not. I let God take care of me on that. The water usage for farmers out west, yeah, they use a lot of water. But out here, we don't have the luxury of having overabundance of water. Yeah, Suburban will probably supply the water to them. That's not the big deal. The big deal is, what are they going to do when they have a leak? When we have a big rain, 4 inches come down in 2 hours, and they have a problem. They can't get rid of it. It goes down the stream. Because there's a stream right there. I mean, it is. It'll be right next to the stream if we have any problem. If they have a problem, what are they putting in that water? Are they putting something that's inert? That's fine. But they'll have their engineered antifreeze in there. They're not going to tell us what it is. And if it goes down the stream, it may not affect you or your kids, but it affects these people. It'll affect the whole community. This is not this isn't going to be a big deal. This is a big deal. The money they're going to bring in is nothing compared to the life of individual people, the kids that are going to be within 2 miles of this thing. The pollution from the generation that they're going to have, the diesel generators, the exhaust from it, the noise that's going to penetrate your body and you don't even know it, and you don't sleep. Do you like to sleep? I love to sleep. I don't get it, but when I get to, I love it. We want them to go away. Yeah, you may be thinking they're going to get so much money from them. We're not. All the infrastructure we've got to put up to maintain after they build is going to cost us more than what they're going to bring us. They are not going to, and they'll be outdated. By the time they get done building this thing, they'll be outdated. They're saying, we want to put them in space. We want to put them underground. And in 3 years, maybe less, maybe more, they're going to be outdated and gone. And we're going to have this big monstrosity of a building out there that we have no use for. Storage, that's great. That's going to bring in so much revenue for your county. I bring in more into the county just by having my sunflowers out there. You're going to put me and every other farmer in that area out of business because you think this is going to bring in more money. It's not. It is going to cost us more. In the long run, in health care, are they going to pay for the health care? If God forbid it does cause cancer or it kills all our bees and we have no fruits and vegetables, I don't know. I want more research. I want to know how close does the owners of this place, do they live close to one of these? Do they live within 2 miles of a data center? I'll bet you dollars to donuts, none of them do. A big one. Now, they may live within a small one, but they're not going to live within the size of this thing. None of them will. They don't want to hear it. But, hey, let's put it out on these poor farmers, poor city, tiny people. They don't know anything. We're just little lemmings. Run us off the cliff. I just can't understand why you can't let your people and listen to your people in the community. You think you know so much and you're so good at this. You're not. You need to listen to the people.
Mr. Do you, when you farm, what all crops do you grow?
Corn, soybeans, rye, and sunflowers.
So when you use the water, you're producing something tangible.
Yes. I have no irrigation.
So
it comes from the sky.
That would be my point here is farmers are producing something tangible, their crops.
Yep.
So they may use a lot of water, but we're getting food.
Yep.
When the data centers use a lot of water, what is the tangible thing they're producing?
They're nothing. You can't eat it. Can you eat your phone? Can you eat your computer? You can't.
There you go. That's
you
all.
like your flowers?
Thanks, Dad.
Byron McPhee, 21650 227th Street, Tonganoxie, Kansas. I hear a lot of people talk up here like they're experts, clearly from the Google. I will tell you the industry that you're talking about is not placing all of their data in the Google for you to find easily, as clearly noted by most of the professionals in the industry. I also would just like to take some time here to talk about facts. This building runs on a chilled water system. Would any of you like to tell us what's in that water and what you do when you drain it down and have a leak, as clearly stated by someone that's a concern? Every large facility in the metropolitan area has a water system of some sort that uses chemicals for rust inhibitants, antifreeze type needs. It's not uncommon. If we're worried about that, you need to shut down every large facility in the area. There are ways to mitigate that with proper valves. You don't have to drain down an entire system to fix a leak if you put proper valving in. With good regulation and design, you can mitigate 90 to 95% of these concerns that are continually talked about up here with very minimal basis of fact. I have a decibel reader on my phone. I will not say it's calibrated or accurate, but the chiller outside of your entrance was 85 decibels this morning. So if we're concerned about sound, maybe we should work on that problem so when I come to the meeting, I don't have high enough levels to need hearing protection to enter the building. Outside, during your break, I measured 65 decibels in the front lawn. So I think it's good to have some accurate comparisons of what these noise levels actually are. Clearly, if it's 85 decibels at the chiller, it will be less than 85 decibels further away from the chiller. If you've ever dealt with sound, which I have in my careers, it gets lower with distance, which is why the current regulations talk about a 350-foot setback. I'm very disappointed in this body, some more than others. The regulation that is in the packet today was in the May 6th packet. I haven't heard a single one of you talk about it. It seems as if zero effort has been put into making that regulation something that we actually try to make work for we the people. Instead of getting everyone riled up to take their time and spend 2 to 2.5 hours at this meeting sharing information we found using AI or the internet, which uses data centers, worrying about finance that uses data centers, talking about healthcare that uses data centers, maybe we should work on regulation that can clearly be defined and enforced to ensure that any project that wants to come to our county can be built to meet those regulations. I find it quite appalling what I see on Facebook from some of you related to this topic. I won't mention names as some of these other people. I find it disrespectful. But I just think that facts should speak louder than numbers in some of these cases. And since none of us on this elected body that seem to run this meeting can stick to an agenda or speak clearly about facts, I think it's important that some of us do. So I welcome any input on what you use in your water system here, how many leaks you have, what you do with that waste. Does it go down a drain? Does it go out into the gutter system? There's a creek in this town as well with a walking trail that goes right to a very large river. So a lot of these concerns I totally understand and I can't disagree with them, but I do believe that a project of this size in a newly built facility, which we have very minimal of in this county, so it's hard to compare what we're used to with something that's built with regulations by qualified people that has essentially a way to check that the build works, test it out before you move in, and minimize the opportunity for these leaks that we have due to lack of maintenance. This can be a very successful thing, and everyone can have lower taxes, which should be the goal of this current body. Let's see, what else? I guess that'll be it for now. I'll be back in a week or two with some other comments about some other things that this county is working on or not working on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Jane Dent. I live at 23120 DeHoff Drive in Tonganoxie, Kansas. And I kind of got to say a little bit about what he just said. I didn't get any of my stuff off of Google about my MTHFR gene issue. I lived it. I got really, really, really sick. I was homebound for 8 years. I didn't go anywhere except at doctor's appointments, and it took me forever to find doctors to try to help me because doctors do not understand the MTHFR gene issue, and there's more than just that one. I have another one that's even worse. But the 25% of the population has this genetic issue, and it's horrible. It's it's any kind of toxin. It causes my body major issues. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Deadpool, the guy that had the face that looked like it was burnt. I have pictures I can show you. I looked just like him when I was in that issue, when I was that bad. It was horrible, and I would never wish my issues on my worst enemy, ever, because it's no way to live. These kids that have autism and ADHD and the learning disabilities and stuff, they're the canaries. Most of them have the MTHFR gene issue, and the doctors don't even get it yet. I can't say that because a lot of them get it, but they don't want anybody to understand it because there are ways to detox your body and get well. It's just you got to know what your genes are and what kind of supplements and things that you have to take to help your body detox, because that's what I'm doing now. I have to take certain things to help my body produce. It's glutathione is what it is. I have to take glutathione every day to help my body detox, and that's not just the only one. I have a lot more than just glutathione I have to take, but it's real. And these low tonal sounds that these facilities produce cause the issues that are going to make these children's lives 10 times worse. They're going to get sick. My dad died at 47. I'm betting you all know somebody that had a massive heart attack at 35 or 47 or something like that. He had the MTHFR gene issue. He got toxic from the job he had, and it caused him to die young. The babies that die young, they're the ones that have the toxic issues. And I do not want this facility. I know they say they're going to mitigate it. Like I said, it has to be zero. It has to be zero for those of us that are the canaries, because we are the ones that are going to get really, really sick. I don't know how much more I can say about that. Anyway, real quick, I'm going to try to read what I didn't get read last time. I watched a video from Dr. Matt Altman he lives in Texas. I believe he was talking to his city council members. He is a physician who is one of the only of 50 physicians who are trained every year in occupational and environmental health. He has a master's degree in public health and environmental health. In this video, he explained his experience with Superfund sites. These sites are areas where a man-made oops happened and contaminated that area. It is where someone has dumped something so toxic that it ruins the environment so badly that it requires federal funds to fix it. These fixes never truly get fixed, because once the land, the air, the water, the environment, let alone our health, is contaminated, there is no putting the genie back in the bottle. The site is forever destroyed, and the health of our residents is forever harmed. We the residents of Leavenworth County, especially those of us who live in and around Tonganoxie do not want the possibility of becoming a Superfund site. We must stop this before it begins to ensure that our children and grandchildren have a beautiful place, a piece of paradise, to be able to raise their children in a healthy, clean environment for all living beings. Like I said, the health issues that no one understands, like I said, even the doctors don't get it. We're the ones that are going to get hurt the most. Real quick, I just want to say, I do not understand why you guys voted against this vote to ask your people whether you want a data center or not. Why do you not want to hear their voices? Why did you turn that down? I do not understand that. That's ridiculous. We should be able to say yes or no. I want it or I don't. That's all it was going to be. Is it that you don't want to hear that your people don't want it because you already know you're going to vote for it?
Thank you very much. I do want to tell you, I appreciate you sharing your personal story.
I have so much more. I could talk for 10 hours if you wanted me to, because there's so much more that you have not heard. Kelly got to hear some last night. But yeah, thank you.
Good morning. I mean, it's new. Good news.
One more last comment that I didn't think I was going to be speaking, but I take exception to, well, kudos to Jane Dent. She knows what she's talking about, so listen. I just wanted to take exception to comments about agriculture, or farmland, as you call it. Agriculture, I'm married to a farmer. I'm a farmer myself and a gardener. I've got my Jersey cows. Okay. And we pay taxes. You can check. I just wanted to take exception to someone not knowing about agriculture, but stating things. And I appreciate the good feelings that that person has of growing up on a farm, because I wish everybody had those same feelings. But Tailgate is not cultivated farmland. It's a ranch. So there's no plowing up of the field. There's no extra water put there, except like what Ted said, it just comes, and they've got ponds. So I just really take exception comparing what we do here in Leavenworth County to what something happens out in western Kansas, which they're looking into the aquifer. They're measuring how much is left, and other places such as California, because almond farms do take a lot of water. So, and then I just wanted to leave you with one final comment. You may know of this gentleman, Franklin D. Roosevelt. He said, "The nation that destroys its soil destroys itself." And that's exactly what a data center does. It destroys the soil forever. And I'm sorry this even came up. I was hoping it would not come up. I was hoping Ohio could keep it back. But it's just coming from both ends, and I'm sorry that you're here. And we don't want you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll wrap it up, folks, but let's a couple more.
Once again, Lisa Higgy, 14755 243rd Street. I just wanted to say one thing. When Vanessa had talked about it's a race between Kansas and Missouri, it's a race that I don't want to win. I don't want to have to deal with the fallout. Let them deal with it. It doesn't, there's no amount of money that's worth the devastation that it will do to the land, the people, and the wildlife. Clear and simple. There's better fits.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker.
West Baker, Stranger Township. So just a moment of background, and then I want to touch on a subject that's listed on your agenda here. Over my 40-year career in engineering, product development, there's been occasion when products I developed.
Wes, could you speak up just a little bit more?
Over my 40-year career, there's been products that I developed that electrical products, and probably everybody's heard of UL. We would present our products and try to find a standard that exists for testing our products. Occasionally, we would develop something UL had no tests for. So on occasion, the responsibility fell to me, knowing the products that I developed, to work with UL to write a standard to test our products. I understand technology, dealt with it most of my life. Material science, product development. I developed with Applied Biosystems years ago the heating system to test DNA. Everybody knows what DNA is, I suppose. And I've traveled worldwide to the customers and subsequent customers that we sold products to in the bioscience field. That same equipment, it brought in millions of dollars to the account over the years. And in 2020, 2021, when COVID hit, that equipment was re-indoctrinated to test for COVID that I developed. So I understand science, development, engineering, and inventing. I saw something disturbing on the agenda. Data center regulations work session. I don't know what that means, really. My concern is, I'm curious if there's engineers and science backgrounds on the Board of Commissioners. Can anybody just, you don't have to speak because you don't like talking to us, could you just raise your hand if you have that type of experience?
We're not going to do that, Wes.
Right. So, in the administrative area, is there someone who has regulatory experience for data centers or any science or technology experience that can be applied to regulation for data centers? Please just raise your hand. Okay. Let the record show that a response of no response will be recorded as no. So who in Leavenworth County government is going to be involved in a few minutes to talk about regulations for data centers? Who is qualified to talk about regulations for data centers in this room? Speak up. I take that as no. There's nobody in the room.
How are you?
So that ought to be an interesting work session, talking about something you know little about. Smile big. Don't you think, Mark? Talk about something you know so little about. How do you get together and talk about regulations for data centers? There's nobody in here saying anything that they know anything about it, and you guys are going to come up with regulations? Are you serious, Jeff? You know anything about regulations for data centers?
No, we're not supposed to.
Thank you very much.
Public comment, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. I thought she was coming.
Okay, then that's going to conclude. We're going to have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Voting?
Aye.
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 We will